So this is going to be a small, intimate class, and I'm actually really excited about that. I'm going to jump into, it's like 4 after, so you must have jump into it. And then I know a bunch of people you didn't hear, and there's going to be 3 women who are actually doing the recordings of this, and because they're working. So, or they're on weird time. So, so I think we're good to go. And anybody else that is going to pop in, they'll just be a little bit late. But today is really just about kind of setting the foundation, knowing what's going to happen, give you some action steps. At the end of every week, you are going to have things to do. So that you have, actually you'll have your homework so that you can just get going and get it all done and then get it all gone, because 80% of the papers in your life are probably going to hit the trash can once you know what it's really all about and what you don't need.
Yay!
I know. It's fantastic. So, I just wanted to congratulate you for being here, for taking the step forward and knowing that I know for a fact that you can do this because I've seen it happen over and over in these group sessions where everybody, no matter how much paper you have, you're going to get it under control, and you're on your way to buying back, almost an extra month every single year. If you're average, and I know that you guys are probably above average, the average person wastes 3 hours a week just trying to find stuff. And I know you're probably a little bit above average because you're here, so you might waste even more time. So I'm going to buy you back a month every year. What we're going to do is just, I want to let you know what to expect. We'll do a little overview. Then I'll get into the basics of Freedom Filer, and we'll talk about your $1 million real estate, and then how to hook yourself up with Voxer and getting type of tech support that you need throughout the class. So for starters, have you received your Freedom Filer kit and your book? If not, it'll be there shortly, but you should all have it.
Yes.
I know, in Canada, I'm not sure what happens with customs, Marianne, but I did mail it and I expedited it. Did you get it yet?
No.
Okay. And how about you, Ann? Did you get yours yet?
Yes, I did. Thank you.
All right. So it's no big deal. You don't have to have it right away. Anyhow, for this first week, you'll definitely, absolutely, hopefully in Canada, have it. I know that Wendy, you got yours as well, correct?
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. And book. Awesome. Okay. And even if you don't have it, Marianne, it's fine. You're going to have enough that you need to do this first week. And hopefully with Canada, it'll show up, sooner than later. I filled out the forms and all that good stuff. Okay. So throughout this session and throughout this training, I'm going to be giving away Amazon gift cards. I love doing that. It's really a blast for me. Oh, now hold on. You're not seeing, the slides are not progressing. You're still seeing Get It Gone week 1, aren't you?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, hold on. I am not, for some reason, it's not progressing. I'm going to stop share and come back around. So, bear with me just for a sec. You should be seeing new slides. I don't know why that's not happening. So I'm going to stop sharing and come back around again. I can see you all better anyhow. Hey, while I'm doing this, why don't you take your time to introduce yourselves and let you know, if you could just say who you are, what you're trying to accomplish while I do this little tech glitchy stuff. And that would buy me some time, and we need to do that anyhow. So go ahead and start introducing yourself, where you're from, what you're hoping to do, your current situation, and all that good stuff.
I can start. Hello, I'm Wendy. Nice to meet you guys. I'm in San Diego, California, same city as Kathi. You said to say what city we're from and what we're doing with this class, or why we signed up for the class.
Exactly. Yeah, what you're hoping to do.
I've struggled for so long with piles of paper, and I just kind of exactly what Kathi described. They scream at me all the time, and I kind of misplace things. I see important things in the mail, and I don't know, I dread going through it. I don't know why this happens to me, but it just keeps piling up. And yeah, and then the bigger the pile gets, the more daunting it is. And then I just don't want to deal with it. And then I'll go through it, and then I'll start filing things, or I'll get through part of it. And then I'm going to have someone over. So I have to gather them all and then put them somewhere else. And then that's where they stay for maybe another month. Anyway, so I just need to get organized. And also when I have these piles, I just feel terrible about myself. And it just affects a lot of aspects of my life. So I want to get organized and feel better about myself and my life.
Excellent. Now, can you guys all see fabulous prizes over there? Can you see that screen?
No, it's black.
Okay, hold on. Something. Okay, so keep going and I'll keep going.
So I'm Ann Puglisi. I am a newly minted Serenity coach, supporting families of compulsive gamblers on their road from isolation and disillusionment to empowerment and serenity. And I'm here because this is a new business and I need to clear out the old in order to make room for the new. And I'm terrible at, I'm really great, I should say, at piling. I'm not so good at filing, but that's going to be different now. And our way, just like Wendy said, is when we had company, we put it all in a box and off the box goes somewhere, never to be looked at. Probably right now, this very minute, there's an important document that I don't know where it is. And my son just recently rearranged my office for me. We changed furniture and everything, but in that process, some more papers got put into boxes, and now I really have to go through them. So I'm looking forward to this. Thank you.
Yeah, that's awesome. And you are so smart. I just have to say, for anybody who's launching or relaunching or reinventing themselves, this is a perfect thing to do, is to get organized so that you can move forward, really being on task and being focused. Okay, is anybody seeing the slide that says fabulous prizes yet? Okay,
No, it's still a black
I'm
screen.
seeing you. Share
all right.
screen again.
I'm gonna call in tech support here in a jiffy if it doesn't happen, but keep going.
There it is.
Oh, there it is. Woo!
All right, now let's see if it's going to progress. Can you see the new one?
There it is.
Yep.
I get it. Without tech support, I'm amazing. Okay, let's keep going. How about you, Marian?
Hi, Marianne McFall from Edmonton, Alberta, Canada. And I've got 3 different businesses on the go, and I've just felt totally burnt out and overwhelmed, especially during the last few years, and locked down in my house. And Wendy, it's good to know that I'm not alone. Like, I've been struggling with paper like since my mid-20s, and yeah, I've spent thousands of dollars to have a home organizer coming in to help with the filing, and we got it all done, probably 15 years ago, and I just feel like it's back to the same spot again. It's like, oh my God, when can I finally get a handle on this once and for all? And I know that if I clear out the physical clutter, it's going to clear out my mental clutter to then focus on my businesses and just, attract more into my life.
You're a very smart woman, Marian. And, I commend you for having multiple systems, having organizers come in. Masters hire masters, and I hire coaches all the time. I mean, that's what we do. And I think what you're going to love about this particular system is, number one, you're setting it up, and you'll learn more why I think it's the best system in the world. And it's self-purging and self-rotating. So I find that a lot of organizers will invent stuff on the fly to help people get organized, or use things that they've used in the past. But this system has been created after 6 years of R&D. And so it really, really works. I have Simpra Energy, Portisane. I have tons of corporations on it, into it. They're on this system. So it works for corporations, but it also works for home-based businesses, and it also works for retirees. So it works for everybody across the boards. And that's why I really like it. I think that you'll find that it's much more sustainable and much more easy to maintain once it's put into place. And the fact that you're doing it yourself, it's going to be solid in your brain. So all of you, the fact that you're in the trenches, you're actually building it. I'm here for you throughout. If you have questions as you build it, it's going to be very sustainable for you. So it is so nice to know all of you and what you're hoping to accomplish here and what you're looking for. And I'm here for you. So now that you can see this slide, back to, I'm giving away Amazon gift cards. I do it throughout. I really believe in celebrating. So when we have wins, you know, I just want to reward that. And, you know, whenever you're actually doing it and working it, you're going to get rewarded throughout. We'll just have little celebrations and little prizes throughout. So just so you know what's going to happen, week 1, we're talking about the fundamentals of what can a piece of paper be. You know, where do you put it? How do you get rid of it? What's the Freedom Filer system that you have? And how's it going to work for you? Next week, we're going to create your action system. We're actually going to get your papers in action so that they're working for you. Week 3, we're going to get your taxes all in order and organized. Week 4, we're going to simplify and file your remaining papers that are lying around loosey-goosey. Week 5, we're going to create your filing landscape. And week 6, we're going to help you maintain it in less than 5 minutes a day. Once your system's built, it's a real quick, you know, it's what I call having that zero space where everything has a home with a yard around it. You're going to have a home for every piece of paper in your life. And I'm going to show you how to maintain it very quickly. So that's basically how it's going to flow with this work, with this class. So everybody says, well, why does it take 6 weeks? Well, it takes 6 weeks. Generally, they've proven that it's 4 to 6 weeks to change a habit. So I like to be with you through that whole time while you're developing that new muscle and you're developing the new whole filing system, so that I'm with you that whole time until I know that it's solid in your brain on what you're supposed to be doing. That's why I'm making it a 6-week class. And should you go digital is always a very big, good question. Well, yeah, I think digital is great. We're never going to be paperless. I don't think we're going to be, I mean, for 20 years, I've been doing this 18 years, right? The whole time I was like, we're going to be digital. We're going to be completely paper free in like next year. And it's still not happening. My theory is that we're not going to be completely paper free until the 20-year-olds turn 40. So I see another couple decades. 20-year-olds are already on the path of paperless, but they're still not paperless either. But by the time they're older, I think maybe at that point, the world will have caught on and we won't need paper. However, as a professional organizer, as a writer, I love my paper. I just have to say, I love that tactile reading of a book, writing on paper. I will print things to proof them. I just printed something this morning just to proof it, you know, and then I'll throw it out, that I really need that. So should you go digital? Yes, I think as digital as possible. But here's the thing. Once you actually know this Freedom Filer system, you can use the same exact mirror image on your hard drive. And that's the brilliant thing. So you have the same system going at the same time, doing the same thing. Now, I know Alex is going to get off work here in a little bit. So once you're live and able, I know you're listening, Alex, but you can, once you pop on for reals, you can introduce yourself. And I know she's working currently for the next few minutes. Okay, so that is why we're doing 6 weeks, and that, you know, if you do want to go digital, which a lot of my people do, you can use the same exact system. Now, I just want to tell you a little bit about Freedom Filer. It's kind of serendipitous. Hey, Alex.
Hey.
Are you jumping in your car to leave work, or are you still working?
No, I just finished work and I'm sitting in my car instead of driving home in the rain.
Awesome. Awesome. We just did a quick introduction. If you'd like to introduce yourself real quick, Alex, to the gang here, what you're doing, what you're hoping to accomplish from this.
Okay. I am forever trying to get my papers together, and yeah, I've got the Freedom Filer, but it needs some tweaking so that I can make it work better for me. So it works more like my mind.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's the beautiful thing is we're going to customize the labels. They can be called whatever you want to call them as you go. And I'm glad you made it, Alex. Thank you.
Yeah, and I got my package.
Oh, good. Okay, awesome. That's great. Okay, so Freedom Filer, the irony of this system is that when I sat down for my first professional organizers meeting for NAPO, it's the National Association of Professional Organizers, when I was early in my career about 18 years ago, I sat then in my first NAPO meeting, and the guy that sat down next to me was named Seth Odom. He was not a professional organizer. He was the inventor of Freedom Filer. And he had spent 6 years creating this system, and he was bringing it to us pro organizers as a beta test to see what we thought. But we were sitting down next to each other, and when he explained the system, I'm like, boom, I love this system. I'm going to use this system because there's no way in heck that I'm ever going to spend 6 years inventing a file system. No, I just don't have that capacity to do that kind of thing. It's really, he is an intellectual inventor. He had been a Silicon inventor for other programs. And so he had spent 6 years figuring this out. So the beautiful thing that I like about Freedom Filer is he did a lot of research and development. He figured out that we remember things by color. You know, we were taught to remember by color. We were also taught to remember by alphabetical. So he made it alphabetical and color coded. So it ends up being beautiful for us who are visual artistics. You know, it just looks really nice when you open up your drawer when it's done. So you have that kind of, you have the beauty involved in it. But then what he did again is he started studying the IRS tax code. What does the IRS want for the taxes to actually put together, you know, your taxes? And so he spent, so for Schedule C's, and Marion, you'll be able to help me as well for your tax write-offs for a home-based business. As we go, I want to totally make it so that it works coherently with Canada. And actually, I'm going to have a talk with Seth also about what he's researched for Canadian taxes, but I want to make sure that it follows in line. But he spent forever trying to figure out, okay, what does the IRS want? How do they call the tax line items? And he created the system around that. So that's just a brief history. What happened is I grabbed onto it, and I had so many clients at that time. People would call me in to like organize their kitchen, but it would end up being that there's papers everywhere. I would say, you know, let's get your papers under order, and then we can actually organize the rest of your house. So I helped him create a lot of the nomenclature for the system because I grabbed onto it and I helped him develop it as the years go. Now I'm a certified paper flow specialist. I'm a certified, you know, Freedom Filer certified person. I actually train other organizers to use the Freedom Filer system with their clients. So I certify them as well. So obviously I love this system, and I love it so much because I know that it works. And I know that it's simple. You know, oftentimes when we try to create things, we get really complicated. It gets really complicated in creating things. And then we don't spend the time we're kind of throwing it together. So basically, you're not going to ever be throwing this together. It's going to be exactly color-coded, alphabetical, and it works. And it's simple. That's basic idea of Freedom Filer. Okay, so this is the record-breaking thing about this. There's only 6 things that any piece of paper can be. If you hand me any document in the world, it's going to fall into one of these 6 categories. Okay, so it's either going to be something that's in action right now, and I would guarantee you that the stuff that's laying around your desk is almost probably 60% in action, stuff that you have to deal with. Okay. And that's where the piles come from. Out of sight, out of mind. You don't want to let it go because you need to do something with it. So that's the first category. And that's the major pile culprit. The second category is something that's permanent. And it's going to be red. Okay. Permanent red stop. So it'll be all the red files. And what's ironic about this, there's not a lot of stuff that's permanent in our life. What's really cool, the things that are permanent are education records. They're going to be a genealogy that never changes. And there's not a lot that's permanent. There's other things that are semi-permanent, such as your warranty for your computer. But that's only a semi-permanent thing because when your computer's gone, that goes away. The next thing is going to be tax returns and tax receipts. Okay, those that's what really screws us up, is oftentimes we have both years commingling. So like right now, it's a perfect point in time. We are not filing our taxes yet until April 15th here in the US. And I think you said it's May, Marion, when yours are due.
Yeah, end of May. It's a little different for sole proprietors and businesses. We get till June 15th, I think it is.
Yeah, when is yours due for sole proprietors?
June 15th.
Okay, that's cool. So they're kind of doing it on a fiscal year. I'm gonna make a note
Actually,
about
it might
that.
be end of April for regular tax returns.
Oh, is
Yeah.
it?
Yeah, end of April. Yeah.
Okay, that's interesting for just regular old employees, and then June for self-employed or, small business. Okay,
And if
perfect.
you've got a corporation, it's with your year end, whatever your date is set for.
Yeah, if you're following the fiscal year or the July through June to May thing. Okay, so that's perfect. So we're going to talk about that, and we're going to get your tax return receipts done. But what I was getting to is what happens is, like right now, I have this is 2023. I have even year taxes receipts, and I also have odd year tax receipts. I have both going on right now because I haven't filed my taxes. So we're going to separate those years by odd year, even year, your actual receipts, so that that never commingles again. Then we're going to talk about policies. Policies are the easy way for me to think about them are agreements with the world. So policies come and go, agreements come and go. So take, for instance, my auto insurance. When I get the new one, the old one gets to get thrown out because it's null and void. So it's a remove, replace type of category. And it's my favorite category is policies. And we make that flashing hazard light yellow or orange because we know when you're going to put something in, you're generally going to take something out. To back up tax returns and receipts, we made it blue because red, white, and blue Uncle Sam is here in the US. And I'm not sure what are your tax colors? Like what's your tax? Do they have a color that they use in Canada for taxes? Like your tax, the logo could be black.
I have no idea.
Okay, doesn't matter either way. Blue is taxes and tax receipts. And then the fifth category is reference. Okay, so reference, we make it purple because it's kind of fun. Typically with Google, you no longer have to have very many reference papers. Maybe because you can generally find how to grow rows or anything like that on Google, 5,000 times faster and quicker. There's only a few things that you would use as reference. I have a couple. I have like my book notes, whenever I wrote a book. I also have my astrological chart because I can't find that. It was done specifically for me. I can't find it online. So there's only a few things that you'll need for reference, not a lot. You'll learn to let those go. And I'll be saying throughout the class, can you find it better, faster, quicker, later? Now, does anybody understand, anybody see anything wrong with this particular slide or with this teaching point?
Marion did.
Yeah. Where's the
Marion?
sixth one?
Aha! You
I
went
noticed that
on
too.
gift card. I'm going to send you $10. So what it is the sixth category of paper is, anybody know what it might be?
Trash.
I was gonna say
Trash.
trash.
Trash, shred. If it doesn't fall in one of these 5 categories, it is a goner. You do not need it. Okay. So I'm going to make a little note that Marianne won prize number 1. Sending an Amazon gift card. Anyhow, so yeah, if it's not in action, if it's not a permanent record, if it's not a tax return or tax receipt, if it's not a policy, if it's not a reference, it is a shred or toss. Okay. And that's where 80% of your papers are going to go away because they're not going to be in any of these categories. You just kept them because you didn't know what to do with them. So the next question is to toss or not toss, right? So the 80-20 principle, the Pareto principle is live and well, girls. I'm telling you, 80% of those papers are going to leave the nest because you'll realize that you don't need them. 20% of the papers that we have are what you're going to end up filing. 80% are probably going to go away. So what I'd like to do is just stop for a minute and talk about how you celebrate. Like when you have a win, do you have a list of 5 ways that you could celebrate right now? Anybody? Now, I'm asking this because this is my year of celebration. In the past, I have not celebrated. When I released my first book in 2009, I didn't even stop to acknowledge that I published my first book. I was just like, okay, now we got to market, right? I never stopped. I never paused. So think about the ways that you would celebrate your wins. Does anybody have any ideas of things that you do? I finally, after much angst, figured out how I would celebrate. Isn't that crazy that I say it that way, but it's true for me. Who has ideas of how they celebrate when they have a win?
Oh, a nice dinner out at a restaurant.
Nice. I love that. That's one of my favorite things. You had your hand up, Alex?
Yeah, Fruit Loops.
You eat them dry or in a bowl?
It doesn't matter.
I love it. I love it. That's hilarious.
I don't
Yeah.
buy them unless I'm gonna treat myself.
Sweet, sweet. That's a first, and I absolutely love that. Anybody else?
Chocolate.
I'm beginning to just state it. I have a couple of teacher mentors who are, they ask in the beginning of class, what's the celebration? So I've been kind of thinking about that in my life. And well, I'm celebrating this one. So.
Yeah, I was in the same boat, Anne. I hadn't really even thought about what I can do to treat myself. I'm just like steamrolling down the road, getting crap done and not stopping to pause. And I think stopping to pause is so very important, and having in your mind what it means. Like, what is a treat for yourself? What can I do for myself that makes me feel good and makes me feel rewarded? Have you come up with anything, Wendy, or have you used anything in the past?
I'm trying to think. I mean, I was saying chocolate, but
Yeah, chocolate's a common one for sure.
I got to come up with a better one, because
I do chocolate every day anyways. So
yeah, I know. I mean, I have
chocolate.
yeah, I have chocolate around, so I think it needs to be a little more special.
Yeah. So, put on your thinking caps, and this is kind of a little assignment that I'd love you to put this in your Google Doc, which I'll talk to you about. Think of 5 things that you can do for yourself that just are for you. What is it? Like for me, I know putting my hands in the dirt and working in the garden or working with my plants, my hands in the dirt feels really, really good to me. It's something that I can do just for me. I did it all day Sunday, and I was so renewed and revitalized. That's something that I can, like, I'm stopping this just for me. I'm just going to plant a posy, right? Only for me. That's something. Also going out and I remember my OBGYN kept saying 10 minutes, arms and legs in the sun, 10 minutes, arms and legs in the sun, like having your full body is what she's saying. It's really, really good for you as women, vitamin D. So sometimes when I have a win, I will just go sit outside in the sun for 10 minutes. That feels like a celebrate. It's like taking a pause and acknowledging, I just did that. Yeah, I'm going to give myself a little 10-minute break in the sun. Also, I love champagne. So, popping a bottle of champagne with a friend makes me feel very celebratory. I just love doing the bubbly stuff for me. And then also just walking. I did The Artist's Way a while back, and there was something that I found really profound that I had never done before. Have any of you read The Artist's Way or done any of that? Yeah. So remember Alex, when she was saying, have a date with yourself? I'm like, wow, I never had a date with myself. So the idea is you do something just by yourself for yourself. Maybe it's going to a museum. Maybe it's taking a drive and walking on the beach. Only you. It's a date with you, right? So it's a solo exercise. And I'm such a people person that to me was really profound. I'm not like a loner. My sister's a total loner. She does everything by herself, so it wouldn't even be celebratory. That's something that really is an intentional date with me to do only what I want to do, when I want to do it, for how long I want to do it, for whatever I want to do. It's just for me. So see if you can come up with, 5 ways that you can do something just for you, not your spouse, not your friends, nothing, just only for you. I'd love for
No.
you to put that in your Google Doc, what you come up with it, because I think it's really super important. As women, we're such busy bees. We're only doing stuff for other people generally, or we have these big goals. Like for me, I have these big giant goals, but then I don't stop to say, cool, I did it. Okay. So think
Mel
about that.
Robbins says to go look in the mirror and give yourself a high five. And she says that'll give you a shot of dopamine and just really make your day.
I love that. And doing the hero stance sometimes feels really good. It's like, yeah, oh yeah, I did it. And looking in the mirror about that and saying, wow, Kathi, you're beautiful, do that. I love that. That's also a really great thing. So what I want you to know now is that every single hour that you spend in this class and every single hour that you spend organizing in between sessions, you're going to get 10 back. It's been proven. Abe Lincoln said 1 in 3, but it's been proven now that it's 1 in 10. So for every hour that you give me and you give yourself for this project, you're going to get 10 back, guaranteed, in spades. Just know that as you're going through it, because, it's not all completely joyous as you're going through this, but you will be rewarded in the end. So think about your time. Time is, very finite. So it does take 15 to 18 minutes to get to your task after a distraction. So what you have to remember is when you're going through this process, to carve out a niche of time for yourself to work on this in between each session, and protect that time with your life, because it'll take much longer if you if you answer the phone or if you jump into your inbox. Now, I know that life happens and we have to do that, okay? But realize that it's going to take you 15 to 18 minutes to get back on task. So if you set up time and say, I'm going to give an hour today to work on these papers, try to make it an hour of uninterrupted time, and it'll magnify itself. So you're going to have systems. And a system for me is just things that work together. They're all parts of a mechanism. And this system that you're setting up is going to be just a completely solid system to support you in the background of your life as you go through. So it's going to be a bunch of things working together to help you do your job and help you be more effective. So the thing that I like to always say, as a paper trafficking expert, I want a place for your papers to land when they hit your life. I want a designated landing zone. Okay. I want a place for them to live, a designated place for them to live when you need them. And then the most important thing, I want an exit strategy. And that is specifically why I love the Freedom Filer, because it gives the exit strategy. There's no other system in the world that teaches you when to get rid of stuff. 80% of the papers that go into your life and go into a file drawer never come back out again. With this system, you're going to be prompted to get rid of the papers that you no longer need, that are no longer necessary. And that's why there's only a little bitty amount of papers that are permanent. Permanent papers will hang around and stay, but generally everything else is going to be a rotational exit strategy to get out of your life. Is that making sense so far? Land, live, and leave? Okay. So you do have $1 million real estate. Your file cabinets are your $1 million real estate. Your $1 million real estate are the things that are right within your hand's reach when you're working at your desk. Okay. So it looks like all of you have a desk, right? And all of you maybe have you don't have a desk. Okay. That's fine, because we can work around that. But you want to have a zone where you can actually work. Okay, something set up that's specifically Wendy centric. This is where Wendy gets to work. This is where Wendy gets to have her papers and her setup. Okay, so we're all going to have that. And what I want to do as part of this is I want pictures of your current workspace. Okay, where do you work? I'd like you to shoot pictures, and you're going to put them in your Google Doc, which I'll get to in a minute. Everybody has their own Google folder, and you're going to be putting in homework or pictures or that kind of thing in it. And you'll be using it also as a reference as we go throughout the class. So I'd like to see pictures. The more pictures I have of your workspace, the more I'm going to be able to help you. So I'm actually going to look at every person's workspace and give ideas of how to set it up more appropriately and how to set it up more effectively. And you're all going to have a different setup. For sure. Some people I know that are in this class are taking it virtually, they're working out the corner of their dining room. And I don't know if that's your case, Wendy, or, but we need some kind of little niched out space for you to get stuff done. So we'll talk about that. But your $1 million real estate basically is what's in when you sit down to work, what's right there that you don't have to get up and do anything about. The average entrepreneur in a corporate setting that gets up and leaves their office is gone 5.5, 7 minutes. Guess how long the average entrepreneur is gone when they get up from their desk to go do something? Anybody have any idea?
20?
Yeah, about 18 minutes. Yep, 18 minutes. So with that in mind, you want to know that, 18 minutes gone, there you go again. You've now disrupted, you've taken a third of an hour away just because you wanted to go get a potato chip. And then you got intercepted by the dog who wanted to go out. And then you opened up the fridge and you're like, oh, I need more than a chip, so on and so forth. I'm not saying don't eat, but eat at designated times and don't just get up. You need a ream of paper. You're trying to get paper for your printer. And then, here goes a third of an hour because you decide to go to the fridge and get a chip or whatever. Okay. So guard your time. That's all I'm saying. Okay. Now, Voxer. First off, has everybody been able to get into their student portal? Did you get the email that says here, go into the portal? Anything there?
I just haven't done it yet. So,
okay, no problem. So I'll go into that in a little bit, but your communication with me is going to be via Voxer. Hey, Fred. Are you there, Fred? Oh, Fred fell off. Okay. That's very strange. Anyhow, okay, so Voxer is a walkie-talkie system. So what I'd like you to do is to get your phone and load Voxer into your phone. Go to the Play Store or go to your iPhone store or whatever and load up Voxer. Now, Voxer is super duper cool because it's a walkie-talkie, basically. And sign up. Okay, you're going to, there's a whole how to install Voxer and how to use Voxer document inside your student portal. But basically, once it's loaded up and you say that you're in there, my staff's going to make you my friend, and then you can just ask me any question that you want on Voxer, and I get it real time, and I can just answer you right back. So I'm here for you the whole entire time through this class. And if it's not, like past midnight, I'll probably answer your question. I don't really probably answer questions, knowing me, between the hours of midnight and 7. But otherwise, I'll be there to answer your question real quick. And you'll get a notification. And I love it because I don't have to worry about grammar or typos or typing or anything. I just talk. And I can talk very easily. And when you have a question, it's much more succinct with you say, hey, Kath, I'm working on this thing and I don't really know, it's much easier for you to ask a question that way too. So load up Voxer and we're going to have fun with it. So you need to sign up with your email, your first and last name, create a password, and then, you're going to add people. Once you start using this, you'll probably want to use it with friends too, because it's really easy. It's so much better than texting, I think. It's just like, hey, what's going on? And then they talk back. So you're going to choose me as a person. It'll say who I am. I think I'm just Kathi Burns. Let's see.
Well, I searched and there's about 7 Kathi Burns. I think the one that you are says Kathi Burns CPO.
Yes, that's
Okay.
me. So Kathi Burns CPO, Certified Professional Organizer. It's interesting. One of my clients / mentors, she's a client and a mentor. She said, no one knows what CPO is. You should actually write out Board Certified Professional Organizer. And I'm like, oh, you're probably right. So I did that now on my subject line. But yeah, that's me. And that's me with the book. I put myself with the book so you know who I am. So make me your friend. And then you can literally go in and just, make anything. Now, see, someone signed up here, 619-855-2131, but I don't know who they are because their name's not there. So make sure that your name is attached to your phone number. So like, oh, that's Marion talking, or, oh, that's Alex talking, right? I'll know who it is. So again, instructions are in the portal. Speaking of the portal, in the portal, you're going to find your Freedom Filer guide that you can download. You're going to find 5 categories of paper, which I already talked about. You're going to have white sheets all throughout this class that you can download and look at. Maybe not print, maybe save them or print them, whatever you want to do. And then there are things that you might consider that you might need for this class. And I'll talk about that in a little bit further. And what I did was I just made a cheat sheet of things you might want to buy to help you build the system. Is all right there, and you can download that and see what that's all about. So there is a Google folder, and you've been emailed a link to your particular Google folder. So go ahead and, open up your Google folder. And like I said, if you can shoot some pictures of your office and your workspace, that's going to help me a lot, help you. And this folder is also going to have homework documents that you can work on and collaborate with. And you don't need a Gmail account to access this. If you have a Gmail account, it's just easier for you to get into Google Drive and Google folders. And right now, there's only 2 things in there. There's your homework document and your Freedom Filer guide. Those are the 2 things you're fine. I'd like you to put a document in there that has your pictures of your office and your workspace, so that I know what that is as well. And I can help you. And what I want to do is I want to have, as we go through the class, I want to have a private one-on-one session with each of you to talk about your workspace and how I would design it and what I would recommend that you do specifically for your workspace and your $1 million work area. So I'll be setting up a one-on-one with each of you as we go. And if you feel like you need it before I get to you, just reach out to me and say, hey, I'm ready for this one-on-one to design my workspace and set it up. So your homework for this week is going to upload pictures of your piles, your current files, your desk space, your workspace, and put them all into your private Google Docs so that I can see where you're at. And hey, Fred, I'm not sure who you are, but you should probably pop off this session. There you go. I don't know. That's a really weird thing that they're in this session. We do not have a Fred. Okay. And then read your 5 categories of paper so that they're really solid in your mind, what the 5 categories are, so that when you start sorting, you're solid on that. Chapter 1 of the book, you can download chapter 1 digitally to read it that way. Or, if you don't have your book, you can, read chapter 1. Chapter 1 is all about papers. Ironically, it was the hardest chapter for me to write in this whole book that I wrote, because trying to explain it succinctly, but I feel like it's a really good explanation of what you're going to be doing with Freedom Filer and why you're doing it and how it's all going to flow for you. So chapter 1's critical. Now, we're starting. I want you to remove all the paper piles from your desk and surfaces. But before you do that, I want you to put all your papers in action in a box. Okay, I want you to, or some specific area, specific pile. Okay, so make sure that you have everything that you need to deal with in its own little area, and everything else you don't need to deal with, I want you to put it in a box and set it aside for this week. Okay, that way everything, when we jump into next week, we're going to be actually working on those papers in action and giving you a system so that you can handle them. But I want them set aside so they're not lost. And then everything else, I want you to just put in a box, because you aren't going to need them for a while. You're going to find them. You're going to find those non-action papers later. But for right now, I want you to just get them out of your workspace. So what that's going to mean to you is your workspace is going to be free and clear of debris. And the only thing left is possibly a pile of stuff that you need to do, that you need to handle so that you don't lose it. Okay. Excuse me. What you're going to need to create your action system are some manila file folders. Most of you have them already. You're going to need 8 to 10 manila file folders. Get ones that are pristine and pretty so that we can label them. It's going to be labeled by the types of action that you have to do with your papers. So get yourself, 10 manila file folders. Most of us has those sitting around in some box somewhere. If you don't, buy yourself a box of manilas. And then any questions that you have in between sessions, just ask me on Voxer. Now, the thing about Voxer is that it's a group chat, and you'll have this as a group. But if you have something very private, like when we get into the tax session and into the memories, permanent stuff, you might have stuff that you want to ask me privately. Feel free to Voxer me private and group. So you have a choice. The more I recommend that everybody ask everything on the group, unless it's something that's you're really nervous about, sharing with the group, because what happens is most of the questions that you have are going to be questions that other people have as well. So there's no silly question. There's no stupid question, just ask your questions. And then if I answer it in group, then it's gives me the ability as well to, to go ahead and answer, and everybody had that same question anyhow, probably. So, you received the link for Voxer. You should have received it about an hour ago. And then after each class, the recording is available, and the recording will be posted no later than tonight for each class, so that people can stay on task. I'm getting tongue-tied. Okay. So you're going to need your 10 to 20, 8 to 10 manila file folders. Now, you're going to need hanging file folders. You're going to need a file cabinet and hanging file folders. So who here has file cabinets already and files? Okay, perfect. Okay, brilliant. So you're going to need that. And don't worry about emptying out your file cabinet yet. We're going to get to that. But I want you to, if possible, the ideal thing is to have 75 brand new pristine file folders. The reason being is whenever you build the kit, you're going to be putting the label underneath a clear tab, and it's going to be good for you for life. So if possible, since you're doing a whole new system, I always prefer to have brand new hanging file folders. Now you can recycle the ones that you have if you want. And if you want to do that, I still encourage you to buy brand new hanging tabs, those clear 5th cut tabs that go on your file folders. Some people have a file system that they don't even use the tabs. We're going to be using those tabs for demarcation of categories and whatnot. So if you want to, whatever you do, I'd like you to have clear tabs, pristine and new, that are not yellowed and are not broken, so that you can create a system that looks beautiful. By the time it's done, your system will be brand new, spanking gorgeous, right? You're going to want to look at it. You're going to want to open up the drawers. It'll be beautiful. So you can buy the hanging tabs online, and I gave you links for that, but you want the brand new. Now, when you buy the tabs, the ones in the bags are good to go, and they're slanted. Okay, so I don't think I pulled one, but whenever you look at it at a hanging tab from the side, it could be straight like this, or it could be tilted like this. When I built my first system, I didn't know this, and I had all the straight ones, which are the cheapos. And so in the bottom drawer, I couldn't see what the tab said. But when they're slanted, when I open up the bottom drawer of my file cabinet, I can actually read the tab. Is this making sense to you? Does that make sense? So find the tabs that are angled. Okay. The bags of tabs are always angled. But if you buy a box of hanging folders, The cheapo ones, they might have cheaped out and given you the really thin mill of plastic and they're going to be vertical. If that's the case, you can bend them on your own, but they're not as good as buying the good file folders with the tabs. Does that make sense? Okay. So you want to do that. So, you know, there's some supplies that you need to get. You can reuse your old stuff, but please buy new tabs to put on your old folders if you're going to do that. And it'll take you a lot more time if you want to recycle the folders that you already have. But that's all fine and good, whatever you want to do. Because the actual labels are going to go inside the tab. And that way they're good for life. They won't get smudged or whatever. Okay, if you ever need tech support, I have Rebecca and Janine on call for you, and they are at support at Organized and Energized. If you have trouble loading anything, downloading anything, uploading your photos into Google Drive, if you've never done that, anything that you need to do what I'm asking you to do, Janine and Rebecca are on call for you. And they're on Michigan time, so they're ahead of us, which is awesome because they can do a lot of stuff, you know, depending on what time zone you're in. I think for all of us, Ann, what time zone are you in?
I'm in Central Time. What time is Michigan in?
They're in Eastern.
Yeah,
So
okay.
that's really cool. So they're ahead of all of us, which is awesome. So, you know, they can do stuff while we're just waking up. But anyhow, they're available. Support at Organized and Energized is the fastest way. If you're having any trouble with anything technical, they are the people. I am not tech support. I am not good at it. So that's why they're there. They can help you with anything. You know, you can direct message them via Voxer if that's easier. They're going to be on Voxer for you and they will introduce themselves via Voxer, or you can just go to support at Organize and Energize. Either way, anything that you ever need throughout this whole entire class, we are at your beck and call. We are at service for you. So we're here to support you with anything that you might be glitched up on. That's what it's all about. So do you know what you're doing this week? What your first thing is to do? Anybody?
Take photos of my office.
The box.
Take photos of your office and
Put the
Go
paper
into your
file
back
in the box.
office.
yep, clear off your desk. Okay, put anything that's in action in a small little pile or in a small little box, and everything else goes into a giant box and set it aside. That's what we're doing right now. Taking pictures of your office. You're also going to read chapter 1 so that you know where we're going to head with this. Okay. Next week, we're going to actually organize your papers in action into categories. And that's where it gets really sweet because you're going to be on top of things. Now, depending on your workspace, I need to see your workspace pretty quickly, you guys, definitely before the next class, because I'm going to suggest to you where I would suggest that you put your papers in action. If we can put them front and center right beside your computer, that's the ideal thing. This is my favorite device for action. And these things are about 20 bucks on Amazon. They used to be 8, now they're like 18 or something. But either way, you'll have it forever. Now, the reason that I like this to step action is because it had 8 steps. And generally there's 8 types of action that you're going to want to take with your business or with your life. So if you don't have one of these, a lot of you might already have them. They're very common. If you don't, and they're misused. If you don't have one and you have the space to actually on your desk, if you have an actual desk, this is the ideal thing because you plop it right beside your monitor. And all your papers are right there. You can see what they are, the way that they're stepped. You can actually see the categories without even having to lift a finger. It also is no barrier to entry for your papers. So when you get a bill, you just throw it in there. You don't have to open up a drawer or anything. So this is my favorite action type of thing. If you don't like that and you want to do something else, you can actually get yourself a hanging file box like this to put your papers in action. The main thing that I want for you is that they're vertical. I want them to be vertical in your life and not piled. So they're going to be piled this week, but next week I'd like you to have a place that you can actually make them vertical. So you see how you can have 8 folders in here that hang. This actually has hanging rods so that they can hang. Another idea for your papers in action is to have them in a desk drawer right here on your desk. If you have a desk drawer, you can actually hang your action system right there. But the ideal thing is to have them front and center in your face for this 6 weeks so that you don't forget about them and that you actually work them, because you're building a new habit. So having them front and center, yeah, you know, in your face is going to be the ideal thing if it's possible. If you have that space available by your monitor, you want to have them right there. Is that making sense to you? Does anybody have any questions about that? And if you want a link for that little vertical stepper, which is it's called a vertical incline stepper, the link is in that slide for you, so that in the student portal you'll see, you know, things you might want to buy, and there's a link that will just take you right to where you want to go. Hopefully the links are still working. You know, I think they updated them last night to make sure that all the links are still working. Yeah, Amazon changes things. So, you know, all that stuff's available on Amazon. Okay, so to wrap up, we have a winner chicken dinner where Marion just won $10 Amazon gift card. You'll get shipped to that. Whoop, whoop. That can help you buy anything that you might need to buy. Every class will be giving away gift cards for those who take action. And, you know, there's going to be a sneak surprise based on your homework that you turn in till next week. So until next week, you have me. You Voxer me. Any questions that you have, we're here. Tech support at Organized and Energized. I want to honor your time. I'm going to try to stay on track and be exactly at an hour, because time is money and I want you to get going, and I don't want to waste your time with fluff. So hopefully I've given you everything that you need to get this session. If you have any questions, raise your hand and I'm going to take questions right now.
Well, I don't know if I should ask this question now, but I do have, you know, a guest room that's supposed to be guest room / office room, but it's just been, you know, kind of with junk for a while. So I have a temporary desk, but it's not even in the room because the room is so full of stuff. So I feel like I need to start by organizing my stuff.
Okay, so there's no bad question. So this is a very timely question, actually. So you do want to carve out your guest room and make part of it an office, obviously. And what you want to do, you don't want a barrier to entry, though. What I would suggest that you do right now, based on this program, carve away a piece of that room that you can put a desk at with a chair. Throw everything else aside, like stuff it away, right? Anything that doesn't belong in. So when you're setting up an office, and when I'd like to talk to you, actually, you should be my first one-on-one probably, so that you can get yourself squared away. But what you want to do is you want to figure out what's going to happen in this room. What are the different zones that need to happen in this room? One of the zones is definitely going to be workspace for Wendy.
Mm-hmm.
And then the other things, we're going to figure out what needs to, what deserves to live in that room based on what the idea and the zones are for that room. Okay. Mm-hmm. So yeah, reach out to me and let's set up a time, and, you know, send me some pictures so that I see what that room is and what your desk is and where your file cabinet could live. And we'll get you squared away so that you'll have a workspace right away.
Okay.
So that's a very good question, Wendy. So yes,
Yeah.
good question. Anybody else have questions right now? All right, you know what you're doing. You got your homework, you got your marching orders. Go ahead, shoot some pictures. Let me know where you're at. Show me your situation. And we will meet again next week. Anytime in between, feel free to Voxer me. In fact, you might just want to do a test Voxer. Hey, this is me checking in to make sure I'm on the same bat channel. So go ahead and, you know, do a little Voxer quick little jaunt, and I will answer.
I sent you a hi Kathi message. Did you get mine?
You did.
I sent one too.
Okay. Let's see. Yes. Hi, Wendy. I'm reading you loud and clear. Hi, Marion. It's good to see you on Voxer. There. Now you have received back, hopefully, my little message.
Yeah.
And that way you can see what the notification looks like, you
Yeah.
know, when you get it. And we're good to go. And what I have to do now that I'm back in session with you girls is turn on my notifications because I had them turned off. So I'm going to turn it on. So I will be hearing you as I go. And if I'm not with a client and if I'm not in a session or doing a speaking gig, I have another speaking gig tonight, I will answer you, but I'll get back with you just as soon as I can every single time. Yeah. Yay. All right. Anything else? We're good to go. Go.
Thank you, Kathi.
Have fun.
Thanks so much.
Okay, we'll see you next week.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Signing off.